So MAURICIO Lara comes back, stops Leigh Wood in the 7th. Ben Davidson's under fire. That was a fantastic fight. Let's talk about it.
Well timed, but simultaneously landing left hooks, and down Wood goes. And the new
boxing.
Alright, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you got a chance to watch that fight. That was a really good fight. Really enjoyed that. It wasn't quite the barn burner I expected. There were, you know, some quite savage exchanges. It's like there's always like that feeling of tension when there's a lot of power in the room, and I think both guys were respecting each other early on, and you know, you could feel a bit of the tension. But you know, Leigh Wood, you know, and Ben Davison, we got to give him credit. We'll talk about the stoppage a little bit later, but you know, they had a game plan. They really did. You know, his right hand was glued to his chin or to the side of his head. He was very disciplined with that, and you know, even later on with the finishing shot, he still managed to keep it somewhere near his chin. But you know, the shot snuck through in the end. But no, Leigh Wood was doing quite a good job of controlling Lara, measuring him a little bit with the jab, probing a little bit, keeping his distance, using his range control, backing up with his feet a little bit, and doing a very good job of tempering or taming the beast, so to speak. Lara didn't like seem like his erratic recklessness, didn't seem as reckless and erratic as he normally has been in the past. Perhaps that was down to Leigh Wood's power. I know in the fight both guys were hurting each other. Lara actually, you know, wobbled Leigh Wood in the 2nd with that right hand, and he definitely hurt him. And then there was a cut actually at the end of the 1st, which Leigh Wood got, unfortunately, from it was a clash of headbutts. But at the end of the 2nd and the start of the 3rd, you know, Leigh Wood's face looked a bit more distressed, and it started to look like, okay, this is going to be a rough night for Leigh Wood. But credit to him, he stuck to his boxing. He stuck to, you know, he was countering with short, snappy shots, like a left hook, right hand, and he was shooting with that nice little right hand. They definitely worked on a lot of stuff. It was really great to see, and they were, like I said, keeping Lara at bay. And really, they started to outbox him, and you know, Lara looked like he was running out of ideas, and then you know, Wood started to go downstairs, and Lara was feeling those body shots. I think it was the 4th or the 5th. Wood landed a couple of body shots, and I did question or spoke about whether they would go to the body, because Lara had been stopped to the body in one of his previous fights. And you know, sometimes boxing can be really simple, where it's like you take somebody like Keith Thurman, and if like you go, okay, he's been hurt to the body several times, let's go downstairs. You know what I mean? Because there's something there. So that's like there was something there with Lara. He died, you know, nobody likes it to the body, but some like it far less. And you could tell Lara was visibly hurt, and he actually acknowledged it. You know, this is like when you get real tough dudes that he's like kind of smiled at it whilst backing up. But they were having an effect, and you know, Leigh Wood was in control. He won every round outside of the 2nd. I thought Lara was winning the 7th. I'll get onto that in a minute. But yeah, Leigh Wood was keeping his distance well. A disciplined fight, like I said. And you know, his power was the one of the things that was keeping Lara at bay, not just his ability to move and probe with the jab and measure him and being smart. And you know, he was doing a really good job. But it was his power as well that I think Lara was a bit more tentative and not being so reckless and so gung-ho. And then in the 7th, I thought Lara, he looked a bit ragged, and he definitely looked tired, and he was hurt a little bit. But then the 7th, we're still halfway. This is just the start of the 2nd half of the fight. So I thought Lara was winning that round. And if you go back, there was a couple of eye-catching shots. He caught him with a couple of jabs. He caught him with an uppercut on the inside that snapped Leigh Wood's heads back. Then he caught him with a lead right hand right before he dropped him with the left hook. Well, about 10 seconds before. That snapped Leigh Wood's head back. And then I can't help but think that is what made Leigh Wood want to like kind of fire back a little bit, because after he snapped his head back, You know, Leigh Wood went back on the probing with the jab. And then Lara did that thing that I mentioned about pre-fight where he kind of leans in. And I was like, when he does that, you got to be careful because I think he's trying to set you up for a left hook. And I was like, if you're going to do that, see that, back him up, hit him with the jab. Leigh Wood was using the stab jab all night, or like quite a bit of it, like bam, a little shot to the chest or shot to the stomach. That should have been a stab jab moment right there. Instead, he decided to lead with the left hook. Lara led with the left hook, and I think he suckered him onto that left hook because he's very good at just disguising it, very front foot heavy, and then boom, it came up. He got the whole shot in that caught Leigh Wood bang on the chin. He did have his hand up, although it was a little bit away from his chin at the time. He brought it back here, but that shot got in there. It's boxing. Leigh Wood's hook didn't look great, so I don't think even if it had landed, it wouldn't have done too much damage. But that was a brutal shot. Bang on the chin, and he felt that. It was a hard knockdown. Hit his head on the canvas. You know what, 10, 11 seconds to go on the clock. When that happened and Ben Davison did that, I was like, what? Like that, I was like, oh man, that's like, I just immediately thought that's a bad call, bro. But I watched it back a couple of times, the stoppage, and I was like, man, he was pretty done. He was very hurt. You got a split second to make a decision like that in this game, and you know, there's a few fighters that have come out. Well, Michael Collins said he agreed with the stoppage. Carl Froch would have liked to see him go a little bit. You have got somebody that just went through some trauma in his last fight, got back up off the deck and fought to win in his last fight. He's a world champion. You could say, well, let's let him be a world champion, you know. Then you could say, well, you know, if you let it go, me myself with the yard stoppage, I was like, well, you know, it was a perfect stoppage. What's going to happen if Beterbiev just, you know, sinks yard to the canvas with a massive shot that he can't defend? That could have happened against Leigh Wood. Then we'd all be going, oh my God, Ben Davison should have stopped it. So I personally would have, like, yeah, I guess in hindsight you could say, take a knee, spit your mouthpiece out. But you know, I would suggest there'd be very few coaches that would have the intelligence to say and do that. But you know, I would have loved to see Leigh Wood maybe try and clinch or try and survive. But in reality, you know, looking at how hurt he was against a savage puncher who was ready to go, and that when you hurt somebody like that, it can energize you even more. So it's not like there wouldn't have been a barrage of punches coming in. There would have been. He would have let his hands go, and when Lara lets his hands go and you're already wobbling around on your legs, I think there's only probably one thing that would happen. He'd have probably really hurt Leigh Wood. And you know, I don't think Leigh Wood's clever enough, or like let me take that back. Just in that situation, there'd be very few fighters that would have been able to survive that. You know, like with some intelligence and, like, you know, some trickery. But I don't really blame Ben Davison, to be honest. It's going to be unfair. He's going to take a lot of stick because he definitely helped devise a really good game plan for this. You know, they really worked on that. They really kept it. He kept his discipline in this fight, and you've got to give Ben Davison credit, really, and Leigh Wood for executing, because, you know, even at the end of the first round, I think, or maybe even the second round, Ben Davison was like, don't exchange with him, or he said something about not exchanging, which was obviously a massive part of it. And the minute he kind of did exchange, he lost the fight. Crazy how that can happen, you know, like a fight can just turn around like that. Power is the ultimate equalizer. And that's why, like, it's the most sought after trait a boxer can have. Not necessarily the best one. I know people might disagree with that, but like when promoters here or like managers are like, oh yeah, but he's got power. That is just like the like Lord of the Rings, you know, there's such a mystique behind the power because it can change a fight. It can win a fight. Lara's got fight-changing power. He's an unbelievable KO artist, really, because he gets so much leverage into the shots. And they're awkward and they come from weird angles, and it's like puts everything into it, and it's just like boom, catching that on the chin with an 8-ounce glove. No. So, you know, like, you got the power, you can do that. And you know, a lot of people are talking about, well, you know, if there was a rematch, Leigh Wood would probably win it. I'm not so sure, because he was I mean, probably, maybe, but like there were times where Lara was catching him with a couple of those hooks earlier on, at least 2 which Leigh Wood took well, but you know, it was only a matter of time for me that those hooks were going to get through, because like I said, he's sneaky with it, the way he leans in with that and he sets it up. Maybe, I mean, it'll be interesting. I wonder if Leigh Wood is going to take that rematch, because, you know, credit to him for even taking this in the first place. But this is one of the reasons you try to stay away from punchers like that, because at any given moment, no matter how well you're boxing, you make one little mistake. And when you're fighting, I've always referred to when you're fighting, it's like a tightrope, isn't it? It's like you got to walk the tightrope, and you're watching like a circus act, and you're like, oh my God, they're going to fall. And then they get their balance back, and it's like that. You're just one little mistake from falling and getting knocked out. And it's like when you're fighting someone, I'm like, Lara makes you fight, really, at some point. But Leigh Wood was really doing his best to not really engage, unless when he had some opportunities to let his hands go and back Lara up, he was being a bit more aggressive. And that's fine. He was being very cautious and calculated with it. But there, he was exchanging a little bit, but he kept it to a minimum. And then, you know, like he hit him with that right hand right before that left, like 20 seconds before that left hook. I wonder if that pissed Wood off and triggered something, you know. But, you know, listen, he lives to fight another day. I wonder if he's going to have some issues with Ben Davison. I'll be curious to see the interviews after that, because I don't really blame Ben Davison, to be honest. You know, it's impossible to know whether you would have done what you would have done, because it's like you got a split second to make that decision. 10 seconds left. I'm sure Ben Davison might not have even known how much time was on the clock. It takes a special coach to be so aware when you're watching everything that's going on, and then that happens, and then to look at the clock. Maybe he did, I don't know. But I'd love to hear him go, hey, take a knee, take a knee. Because that would have made it through. You'd have taken a knee, probably. But, you know, hindsight's 20/20. I probably wouldn't have been able to think that quickly, to be honest. But let me know what you guys think. Did you enjoy the fight? You know, there were moments too, actually, when you thought, wow, Leigh Wood could actually finish him here. You know, Lara was maybe the 5th or 6th, where it was like, tide's turning. Fair play to him. But, you know, I really enjoyed that. It was a great fight. Another good fight for boxing. A lot of people think boxing's dead right now, but, you know, we've had some really good fights. And, you know, there's rumors of the Tank Davis Garcia fight imminently being signed. I think we could get a few more going. I think it's going to be good. I keep saying that. I'm very optimistic about this boxing year. So let's keep them coming. And that's it from me. Plenty more videos to come. I hope you guys have a lovely week. And yeah, I'll see you soon.